It's really disappointing when you want to like a movie and you just can't. This movie had, just from the kind of the one trailer I saw, had everything I kind of like. It's a quiet film, a little bit more character motivated. I like that. It's a road picture built around a lot of natural scenery, no CGI or anything like that. I like that. Got some good actors in it. So, by the sum of its parts, by just kind of checking those things off the list, theoretically, I should like this movie. But in fact, I fucking hate this. I fucking hate this movie. I won't say my hatred goes as deep as it does on something like Split or Manchester by the Sea. I don't think it's... This is a film that has its priorities backwards. And the reason for that, and I'm going to make some rash generalizations here, so please forgive me, folks, but I'm going to do what a lot of people do. The reason for that is right at the beginning, during one of these films, 47 logos, Lifetime. Yes, Lifetime, as in Lifetime original movie. And that's exactly what this movie is. It is a full-length version of a Lifetime original movie with a bigger budget. Not the modern ones where everyone's being murdered, stalked, and raped. No, it's the old one, where poor, lonely 40-year-old woman whose husband is just a big businessman who's just so busy with business that he doesn't recognize what a perfect, wonderful, heartwarming woman she is. But oh, lo and behold, here comes Frenchie McFrencherton, and he's so cultured, and he knows everything about history and wine and fine dining and classical music. And he's just going to show her that she is wonderful, that she is the most beautiful person ever imaginable, and how dare her horrible husband answer his cell phone to take care of business and not pay attention to her. Meh. Oh. I understand that I am not the target audience for this, but in a way I feel like that shouldn't matter because, as I said, I like movies like this. But I was just so offended by everything in this fucking movie. So offended by it. So, here's the story. A little bit more detailed than what I just did. So, Diane Lane is the wife of a movie producer, Alec Baldwin, who, of course, is Mr. Busy McBusinessman. And they're at the Cannes Film Festival, and he has to go to Budapest, and he's planning to meet her in Paris, but for contrived plot reasons, she can't fly. So Alec Baldwin's business partner, French actor whose name I don't know, can't pronounce, but who looks kind of like John Delancey from Star Trek, says, "But do not worry, I will drive her to Paris." Okay, that sounds great. So Mr. French John Delancey drives Diane Lane to Paris, and along the way, every 5 minutes, stops to take her on a walking tour. And you know, the Romans built this over here, and the Romans built that over there. And did you know that? Oh, quickly, we must go have more fine wine and eat fancy food. That's the fucking movie. And of course, throughout the course of the film, Diane Lane, who has just been suffering from midlife crisis disease of my daughter is 18 years old and in college, and the business I had before this has closed, and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And of course, they fall for each other, or they start to develop feelings for each other. Let's say that. And can I take this opportunity to say, no fucking shit, Sherlock. You're spending 2 days with a guy who tells you that the earth rises and sets by your smile, takes you to the most romantic, gorgeous places in France, takes you to the best restaurants, tells you all about the wonderful food, has you drink so much wine. 2 days of that, and any woman would fall for Nora fucking Aga. God. I get what this movie is trying to do, but it fails so hard. It tries to paint French John Delancey as a guy who's been in love from afar and who has suffered pain in his life, and now this poor wilted flower is the one that shows him the light of life. That's what it wants you to play this guy off as, but this guy comes off as the ultimate con artist. This guy is seducing her from the moment he agrees to drive her to the last second. The fucking moment. And everything he does, everything he thinks is designed to get her into bed. This guy could not be more full of shit if he was a whale with no ass. And she falls for it. Look, I'm not married. I've never been married. The longest relationship I've ever had was 1.5 years, and it has been so long since anybody loved me that I don't remember what it feels like. And I'm not saying that to be sympathetic or to, wah. I'm saying that to provide a frame of reference, that I understand that there are elements of relationships that I do not grasp, clearly. But I mean, I cannot speak to what it is like to be married. I cannot speak to what it is like to have been in a full, long-term relationship that lasted years. And I can imagine that long of a relationship, yes, things are going to fall into a rut at some point, and maybe you're not going to take the time to tell the person you're with how special they are or how much they mean to you, or you're going to get lost in the world of your job because you figure that person is always going to be there. I'm saying that as best as I can, as best as I am able to, without an actual personal frame of reference, that I get it. And that I get that having somebody finally show up out of nowhere and start telling you all the things that you felt like you haven't been hearing, I get how that can be seductive and addictive. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be told that they're loved or that they're special, or that the things that they like she's always, in this movie, Diane Lane's always taking pictures, which, sidebar, she's always taking pictures with this little tiny digital camera, which are taking pictures that are so good, it's like she's doing it with a professional Nikon. And I'm sorry, I know digital technology has come a long way. I don't think she'd be getting that good of pictures. She'd be getting better pictures if she was taking them on a phone, which is funny they don't have her taking them on a phone. She's got a phone, she's got a fancy phone, it's got a camera in it. So I don't know why, if you want to say that she enjoyed taking pictures, why wouldn't she be taking it on a bigger, a bigger camera instead of this tiny little thing, which most people would now just use their phone for? I'm just saying, it's a thing that, it's a clear directorial choice, and I don't get it. Of course, that could be because this film is fucking directed by the Paris Board of Tourism, and I don't mind that. It's like I say, I like road pictures. I like movies that have the natural scenery and the natural architecture and all that. I like that. I like a travelogue. But this one, oh my God, it's just so freaking blatant. Anyway, what I was getting back to, I'm sorry I got off on a tangent there, is that I understand what this movie's trying to paint. But here's my problem. Here's the problem I have with it, understanding all that. Imagine for a moment that the genders were flipped in this. Imagine that it was the woman, the wife, who was Miss Busy McBusinesston, who was so busy with business, and it was the husband who was feeling a little neglected and lost and doesn't know where he is, and he meets an older more sophisticated woman who suddenly opens his eyes and shows him how wonderful he is. Would that be painted in the same light? No. That guy would be a scumbag, and Oprah would be calling for his testicles to be served up on a platter. So, I'm sorry. That pisses me off. It's not okay. It's not okay to seduce someone else's wife just because you're French and you got the French cock going on. It's not okay. It's not romantic. Now, here's the only thing I will say in favor of the movie. Here's the only thing I will give it credit for in this whole mess. Is that at the end, I'm going to spoil it, and I don't really care. At the end, he kisses her, and they kiss for a second. You know, like these 2 days of nothing but romantic movie shit, comes to a head, and he kisses her, and she pushes him off and says, "No, we can't do this." So I give it credit for that. But then at the end, he says, "I'm going to be in San Francisco in blah blah. I'm going to meet you at this restaurant, and I'll be there." And the movie wants you to think there for a second that it's just this, we'll always have Paris kind of thing. Like she's not going to show up. But then he sends her, like she gets, at the very end of the movie, she gets a box of chocolate roses. That's the other thing. He gives her roses. He goes and gets a whole back seat full of roses because she said that roses smell so much better in Paris and everything smells so great. So, of course, Mr. Romance there, who's doing it for no selfish reasons, goes and fills the back seat with roses for her. So anyway, he sends her this box of chocolate-covered roses with a note saying, the Frenchman is going to meet you there. And she's looking right at the camera, takes a bite, and smiles. She's going to fucking do it! She's still going to see this guy. Essentially, she is having an emotional affair. And that is wrong! It's not wrong for a woman to have male friends. It is not wrong for a married woman to have male friends. I'm not saying that. It's not wrong for a married woman to hang out with a single guy friend. If that was true, my friend Tiffany and I would never see each other, which we don't really because she lives in Alaska. But, or my friend Erica. These are women who are married that I have been friends with for years, and I'm sure neither one of their husbands would have any problem if I was hanging out with them. But you know why? Because I've never tried to fucking seduce either one of them. And what makes it even worse, what makes it kind of worse, is that normally in that Lifetime original movie trope closet, the husband, Mr. Business McBusinesston, is also usually like abusive, like smacking her around or telling her, "You're not going to go out and work, you're going to fix my dinner, woman." And here, this is almost what makes it fucking worse, is that Alec Baldwin is not a bad guy in this. Yes, he's busy with business, but that's it. He doesn't hate her, he doesn't abuse her. They pull that cliche thing where she's talking to him and he says something and she thinks he's talking to her, but she turns around and he's on the phone. And that's because he's such a terrible person. So instead of trying to fix things with this guy, instead of trying to fix things with your husband, just run off, have an affair. It's fine. Don't worry about it. A movie is really bad when, as I'm sitting there, I can think of a dozen ways that this scenario could have been made better just by sitting there. And it's like, why couldn't it have been? Why couldn't it have been just these two people driving, and they're just friends? And through maybe just conversation, she learns a little bit about him, he learns about her, he maybe helps her figure out what she wants to do next, maybe she helps him with some problem of his, without any seduction, romance, or anything under it. Why couldn't that have been the movie? That's what the trailer, I kind of felt like this is what they were going for, but the trailer also kind of made it look like that maybe they were going that other way that I just mentioned. So I'm like, okay, great, let's give it a shot, And, nope, full-on seduction. And one could argue, I'm sure people who see this could argue that that's what they were doing, what I mentioned, that that's what they were trying to go for, that he helped her realize her beauty, she helped him get past whatever. But all of that is wiped out when you consider that from, like I said, from moment one, he's trying to sleep with her. You know? Moment one. He is so blatant. And so therefore, any genuine emotion or genuine friendship is tainted by the fact that he is trying to seduce another man's wife, his friend, his partner. You know, nothing about this makes this guy good. You know, and here's the thing, I don't necessarily blame Diane Lane's character for any of this. You know, like I said, a few days of somebody telling you you're the greatest thing ever, and you're so talented, and you should pursue this, and you're so much more beautiful than everything, and blah, blah, blah. A few days of that, anybody's gonna fall for it. You know? We're only human. Who wouldn't want to have someone just fawn on them like that? You know, someone that they also think is charming. I get it. I don't blame her necessarily. I blame him. And I blame the movie for trying to make me think that this is somehow sweet and endearing. So, yeah, and the other thing about this fucking movie is that this thing it was co-directed by the Paris Board of Tourism and the France Food Board. They stop and eat and drink every 5 goddamn minutes. And they're bringing them out food left, right, center, and blah, blah, blah. And they're all, I feel like I have gained 60 pounds and that my liver has shut down just by watching these people eat and drink. And what makes this worse for me, now this is a personal thing, I don't blame the movie for this. This is my stigma, so I don't blame the film for that. But you know, on Saturdays, the reason I have to stay here for the summer is I have to go to this class for my teaching license. And we're learning about, you know, diversity in the classroom, and i.e. the students. And not just in terms of race, but in terms of social economic background, gender, sexual preferences, all that. And we talked this whole time last Saturday about kids who don't have food to eat. Kids who go to school and hoard food to take home to their brothers and sisters because they're not going to have a hot meal that day. You know? So, again, this is my stigma. I'm not blaming the movie for this. But it's just so hard for me to watch movies where it's all about, oh, look at this food. Oh, look at this. You don't know about good food. You're American. You need to eat better. You got to the freshest things and the freshest ingredients. And da 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 da. Be thankful for the goddamn hamburger you have. All right? Sitting there, eating your French crap. Sticking your nose up at everybody because we don't eat the right shit. You know what? There are people in this fucking world who would give anything for your table scraps. And you have the gall to sit there and show how great all your food is and how wonderful it is to have all the money to eat all the food. You know, and again, my stigma, I'm in no position to yell at anybody. I'm a fat man, so obviously I'm eating more than I need. But, you know, and again, I'm not blaming the movie, because, you know, who doesn't want to go on a vacation and eat really good food and just kind of, you know, be pampered for a while? Who doesn't want that? I mean, again, that's more of a personal thing, but it's just something that after a while, it was so much. Here, eat this, drink more wine. Ugh. So yeah, I didn't like this movie. I didn't like it, and I'm mad about it because I wanted to like it. I'm mad because I wanted to like it. I'm mad because of its mixed up morals. I am mad at the good movie that could have been this movie, the more interesting movie that could have been this movie. But no, we got a much bigger budget Lifetime original film. And it sucks for them, it sucks for me. I'm pissed off now. So, yeah, you know, Paris can wait. This movie can fucking wait to go to hell. So, anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about all the profanity in this one. I'm in a mood. So yeah. Oh, okay. You know what? Before I sign off, I will say this. I'll say one more thing in favor of this movie. Well, two. Okay, number one, the acting is pretty solid. The characters are atrocious, and the writing is terrible, but the acting is pretty solid. You know, Diane Lane is always good. Never seen her in anything she's bad in. She's always a good actor. Alec Baldwin, he's barely in it, so I can't really critique him. French John Delancey, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the character he was playing was a scumbag, so he played that well. But however, the problem I have is I don't think that was what they were going for. So in that instance, I don't think they did as well as they would have liked. So the acting was decent, and the cinematography was really gorgeous. Seeing the Paris countryside and all that, it was really beautifully filmed, and its emphasis on photography really got you to see some of the details, of all of it. So I thought that was kind of a neat touch, but little pluses that don't save a shit film. So you know what? If you need escapist fantasy, if you are someone who feels kind of like this woman and you need an escapist fantasy, male or female, again, if you are, I don't blame you. Everybody needs an escape. Everyone needs a fantasy sometimes. I don't begrudge people their fantasies at all. So, if you really feel like you can relate to this, then okay, fine. If you like it, great. But I mean, it made me sad, guys. This film made me sad. It really did. It drained me, and I wasn't going there to feel worse. I was going there to try to feel better, and it didn't work. So if you like it, then that's great. No one should tell you what you shouldn't like, but in my opinion, fuck this movie. All right. So that's all for me. Again, sorry this one got a little away from me in terms of profanity and everything, but I'm in a mood. So. Again, this is probably going to be the last one I do before I head back to Alaska, so it's going to be a while before I post another one of these. So everyone have a great summer, drive safe, see you at the movies.